Brother in on April 19th and 20th called the Winter Dance Party. Ladies and gentlemen, get the round of applause going. Get it going for my man Chris Haas.
Thank you.
Guys, one more time for Chris Haas. Oh, man, I got fucking creamed.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, baby.
That's why I came in for the hug.
Get some
cream.
Get some of that cream.
Get
some of that cream.
Yeah. Jersey cream, baby.
Jersey cream.
Jersey cream.
That's my Jersey
hyena.
That's your...
Jersey hyena. You're an East Coast guy too, man.
I am indeed.
Grew up in Philly.
Yeah.
Outside of Philly, but we'll say Philly.
Yeah, outside of Philly.
It sounds a lot cooler.
Yeah.
Sounds a lot cooler than Chester County.
Yeah.
Philly, yeah. People think I might have been in a fight, you know, I'm not just getting pushed in the lockers by white people.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Get in the locker, kid.
Yeah, get in the locker.
Get in the locker, kid. So you're directing this amazing play that I'm happy to be a part of.
Yeah, he's
You guys
excellent
can-
in it.
Nice.
Thank you.
Oh, brother, he's excellent in this play.
It's been so fun getting to work with you the past couple
Thank you.
weeks, and even actually we started maybe like the end of November, and then we kind of pushed some stuff back. We've been like rehearsing for
Right, because the COVID surge.
yeah,
pushed
but
us
it's
back.
been so fun just
Like I
watching.
got pushed in the locker, the COVID
Yeah,
surge. pushed us
COVID
back.
surge, yeah.
Yeah.
We were going to have it on the February 2nd and 3rd, which is
the anniversary of the
anniversary of it. So tell me more about this. It's called the Winter Dance Party. What is the Winter Dance Party?
So the Winter Dance Party was the last tour that Buddy Holly was on before he died. And it was like a 2-month tour. Back then, they did all these musicians combined. People didn't tour by themselves. So it was him and Richie Valens and the Big Bopper, and a guy named Frankie Sardo and Dion and the Belmonts. Dion from Run Around Sue.
Yeah.
Later on.
No.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. I love that his most popular songs are the Wanderer, where he's like, "I'm a slut," and then the one about the woman is, "You're a fucking slut." Run Around Sue. 1950s, gotta love it. But anyway, so the tour is so mismanaged, and that's why he ended up getting on the airplane, because their bus kept breaking down, so they're freezing cold in the middle of the winter. And the tour itinerary didn't make any sense. It went all over the place. In a way, they're tired, they couldn't do laundry, they were exhausted, and that's why he had gotten on the plane in the middle of a snowstorm. It was really just desperation.
Yeah.
Which I've always been a big Buddy Holly fan.
Okay.
And then one night in quarantine, I was sitting around and listening. I was showing off for my wife, like, I know what American Pie is about. She's like, cool, that's great. We've been stuck in I know everything you know about. We're stuck in a fucking house in quarantine for the last 2 years. Yes. You know every Scorsese film too, right? Yeah, sure. So
we have to watch Goodfellas again.
Yeah, so I'm just like, shut up, bitch, and I put the video on. And
she likes it though.
I don't know who you are, this woman's talking about. But anyway, so I put this video on, like, oh, this means that means that. Then I fell into this rabbit hole of research.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I should make a movie of that. Oh, I can't afford to make a movie of that. And I'm like, oh, I'll just fucking write a play
Yes.
and do it. So that's how we got here.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because where did you got your inspiration? Have you always been like a rock and roll fan and stuff?
Yeah. Well, Buddy Holly was like I was a kid when I got into Buddy Holly. It was like my first non-Raffy, musician that I got into, you know.
Yeah.
And then later when I got into like Springsteen and Dylan and Leonard Cohen and all that, I like to trace back, I'm an old white guy, basically. Yeah.
But Buddy Holly was one of like the first like pop rock stars, right? Wasn't he like one
Sure.
of
Well,
those?
I actually prefer Buddy Holly to Elvis because he wrote his own songs.
Oh, okay.
And Elvis was not very interesting to me ever. But Buddy Holly was like the first glimpses of Dylan or Elvis Costello. He wore glasses and he had a little bit of a sneer when he would sing. So I always thought he was very interesting. And I thought he would have definitely been a big, major part of the music scene if he had lived. Definitely with what would have happened in the 60s. He probably would have been a music producer, I think.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting story. And then the more you read, you fall in these sort of rabbit holes. So that's an interesting tidbit, and that's an interesting tidbit. So yeah.
I love that, and because you've directed so many plays, even here at Loft Ensemble. Give it up for Loft Ensemble. You've directed so much, and you've done some movies and stuff too. Have you always had like a love for music and movies, like combined? Because
yes.
I feel like even like Temporary Like a Virus, you always have these catchy songs in there that just hook you. Like I don't sleep with the lights on.
Yeah, man.
I'm just like that's Temporary Like a Virus, baby.
Yeah, I tried.
And it's like, have you always like kind of had that kind of?
Yeah, it's always
flair?
been, I usually start with a song.
Okay.
And I usually am like, this is a song I won in this sequence. A lot of my titles are just ripped off song titles, but they're deep cuts. No one's ever heard of it, so
And run around Sue. Who's this guy? Yeah.
But no, I always loved music. I just wasn't, I don't know the word, good at music. So I decided to write,
Yeah.
that's basically what writers do. Like, I want to be a singer. I can't do that. I'll write about singers. I want girls to like me. That didn't happen. I'll write romantic comedies, So it's all things. I wish I could fight. I can't. So I'll play an action star and then hit a comedian in the middle of the Oscars. It's a process. And the thing is, I liked her haircut. This whole thing was a buzzkill. What does Will Smith say at an orgy? Keep your dick in my wife's fucking mouth! Fuck in the earth. I'll never work in this town.
Would it be funny if Will Smith came to the play on the 19th?
Incredible. Yeah.
He just slaps Alec, Buddy Holly. Every day. Fuck this.
Well, you might be looking for work out there, so I don't know.
He's on the show next month, April 21st.
He won't like this. He doesn't have to curse in his records and so he wouldn't like this at all.
Yeah, that's so funny. And so what
You know why he's so mad? You know why he's so mad?
What's that?
Because Chris Rock out voice acted his wife in Madagascar.
Oh,
Bitter about it for a long time.
that's what I'm talking about. You just got rocked.
Yeah. It was just so weird. It's like the early 90s, the mid to late 90s. Chris Rock, Will Smith, G.I. Jane reference. Like everyone under the age of 30 is like, what the fuck is going on right now? Yeah. Like, does anyone know under 30 know what the fuck G.I. Jane was?
I remember seeing the trailer when I was like 10.
I remember I did VHS and I would just like fast forward when she was in the shower and then I turned it off.
Anymore.
All of my VHSs would get really like blurry and captiony during the nude scene. It's like, oh, somebody watched this a lot.
When was the first time I watched G.I. Jane on the Spice Channel?
Yeah.
And like I said, you've written so many plays and stuff. Do you find yourself, because your plays are so like, you get so deep into characters, which is one thing I love. Like you just kind of like bring them out and just like, do you feel like you make them real people? So it's like, it's such a different take on Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, Big Bopper, where it's like, they're cursing and saying like, fuck you, it's like all this shit, like, you make them so real. Like, how do you kind of like...
Well, something that I don't like about biopics or historical things, a lot of times they're very mythologized and they're these sort of perfect people and it's sort of A to B to C, rags to riches, they get famous, they get into drugs, they find God or whatever the thing is, it's always like what's happening.
Yeah.
And I wanted to instead of do a biopic for lack of, because it's a play, but I wanted to be like, let's do one night in the green room in real time and hear these guys cursing at each other and smoking cigarettes and talking about how frustrated they are.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the compliment, but it's really no skill of mine. I just can't, my brain just doesn't work the other way. I just completely zone out.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I have to make it a little subversive and weird or else it's not interesting.
Yeah.
But by the way, this is Austin, who plays Waylon Jennings in the show. He's fantastic. Yeah. And Mike plays Frankie Sardo. He's fantastic. He's fantastic. And Paul is the Big Bopper. He's wonderful.
I'm so excited.
Absolutely wonderful.
And you've made it such a great experience for me. This is my first ever play that I've ever done.
Oh, okay.
I'm fucking nervous.
Yeah!
Because obviously I'm on stage and stand up and stuff, and you kind of just like riff and like.
Sure.
I can't like fuck up my line and go wash my hands during the
Right.
But like it's kind of like it's so cool to see how you guys just put everything together, and you're so cool. I wrote this down. I don't know if you consider yourself this, but I'm considering you're like the Kevin Smith of theater. Because
Early.
for real, and it's like it's so cool because like you're so laid back and you fucking crack jokes and you just let people kind of feel comfortable in the moment and just bring that out of people, and it's been so cool
Thank you very
to
much.
see that process
I appreciate that.
of that. So
I appreciate that. Well, you're Ben Affleck then.
let's
do it. Let's make some movies by people. We'll see. Let's do it.
This is our Chasing Amy.
Yeah, this is a crazy baby. Yeah.
I want to ask you this question too. written so much. Do you remember what's the first thing you ever wrote, and do you remember like what inspired you to do it?
Yeah, it was real bad. I mean, I wrote little things when I was a little kid, but the first real like swing at a script, I was 14 years old, and I had on the Austin Powers, it's by the Shag Me VHS.
Okay.
There was a teaser trailer for Magnolia. And I was just blown away. I had no idea. I was like, oh, Tom Cruise is in this movie. He's not the main character. And so without ever seeing the movie, I tried to figure out who the characters were by the archetypes. So I wrote this awful movie called The Apple Tree. I don't know why. I thought it was like Magnolia. Oh, Apple Tree, it's a metaphor. And I took all the archetypes and I made them characters in Towningtown Middle School. So there's like, so the Tom Cruise character is the head of the student body, and you know the Jason Robards character was like a principal that's sick. It was just fucking terrible.
Yeah.
But that was the first thing that I tried. So when people compliment my writing now, I'm like, I should hope it's good because I started when I was 13.
Yeah.
Fucking years of just horrible writing. You know?
But that's kind of the thing you do as a writer. You kind of just keep going and going and going, and just you adjust like
you just move on to the next
Yeah.
one and totally accept that all the hard work you've done, no one's gonna see.
Yeah.
And then half the people won't like it.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. So then when they like it and you have any success, it's really cool.
I love your little like the punchlines and kind of like the same kind of jokes. Not the same jokes, but you kind of have that same kind of
The isms.
like the isms
Yeah,
in
sure.
each like play, and it's kind of like you put like your watermark on that.
Sure,
on
yeah,
that
yeah,
play,
yeah.
which is amazing.
Yeah, I try to put my stamp on it.
Yeah, exactly.
So for like, you know, for like you and like my 8 friends, they're like, this is really exciting.
Yeah.
To see Hausenisms, yeah.
But that's so cool. Is like that's kind of like that why I'm calling you like the Kevin Smith of theater, because
Sure.
it's like you kind of have that kind of like arc of being like, oh shit, that's when he got this idea and that, and like
Yeah, and
kinda
it was funny because
Yeah.
with this one set in the 50s, it was harder to work them in a
yeah,
little bit, but I found a way.
yeah,
That was an interesting thing, try to have them talk in that vernacular.
yeah.
You know.
To get back into
Yeah.
50s vibe.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting.
Do you have any advice for like upcoming directors out there to kind of just
Yeah, just
any advice for it?
just make work that you care about, and don't try to second guess or predict what the industry is going to want, because the industry is changing and disappearing, and you could waste years of your life trying to write to a model that is superfluous by the time you finish your script. So
Yeah.
just do something you care about, you know, fuck it.
I love that.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, Chris Haas. Winter Dance Party, April 19th and 20th, here at Loft Ensemble.